GM friends, today I want to talk to you about PYR staking and basically give you a definitive guide to staking PYR in the Vulcan Forged ecosystem. I'm also going to go over some of the things within the Vulcan Forged ecosystem, talk about like the game theory of how to really like maximize all of this stuff, take you through some of the calculations, and then at the end, I'm going to show you basically how this turns into roughly, if you do it a certain way, you can get over 20% APY on your PYR, and that's like PYR on PYR. So you're staking PYR, you're getting PYR, PYR, whatever, and yeah. So let's dive in, build this little presentation for you. So first of all, let's talk about an overview of the Vulcan Forged ecosystem. So first, we have the game studio with multiple game titles. We've got titles like Vulcanverse, which is their MMORPG, very World of Warcraft-esque. They've got Berserk, which is their trading card game. They have Tartarus, which is infinite survival. I believe that they also have, I believe Tartarus is also their VR play. If it's not Tartarus, they do have a VR game that's coming out. And then they have just a whole bunch of like, more of like mini games, but they have about 8 or 9 games as of the recording of this, and they all kind of revolve around this central idea of gods and titans and back in the day of Greek mythology and things like that. So it's really interesting. They have a studio, multiple titles, but the flagship one right now, or the two flagship ones, are definitely Vulcanverse and Berserk. Then they have multiple NFT marketplaces, so you're going to need NFTs within your games, whether it be in Vulcanverse. You use the Vulcan Mart for buying land. You can buy different, they call them Vulcanites, which are basically like your pets or your characters' companions that you use within the game to forage for different things and earn experience and actually generate some of the in-game currency lava, which is tradable, which is pretty cool. As well as your different Berserk cards and a bunch of other things that you need related to the games. There's also Agora, which is their digital art platform that has no hidden fees on that, and that's more for art. And then they have the Cedalion marketplace, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. But basically, Cedalions are that's the name for scholars within Vulcan Forged. If you think back to the Axie days, you had the Axie scholars, where basically people would come in and they would purchase Axies, but they didn't want to sit there and play all day, because if you're an investor, you don't want to be playing the game, you want to be doing more research or whatever it is you do. And so you can rent out your Axies to other players. They can play and earn, and you do a rev share. Very similar here with the Cedalion system, and I'll go into it a little bit more later, but basically you can rent and borrow NFTs related to the games. Like I said, it's the scholarship model. They also have MetaScapes, which is their metaverse as a service play. MetaScapes is very interesting to me, and I think long term this is going to be one of their biggest drivers of value within their entire ecosystem. And basically other metaverses or other worlds or other projects can come to Vulcan Forged, and they can use Metascapes to build out their own game worlds. And it doesn't even have to be game, but their own worlds, their own metaverses, or their own spaces within the metaverse. Then underneath all of this is their own blockchain called Elysium. And the reason why this is cool is because they've got all these games, they've got the different marketplaces, and they've got the metaverse as a service, the Metascapes. Anytime that's used, it accrues value to the ecosystem as a whole, because all of it's running on Elysium, which is their blockchain. They also have a number of other games that have come over to Elysium, which are also bringing more demand. Now let's talk about the two tokens. So PYR, that is the token that's more of what I would call like the investment token, where people are going to, in order as a proxy to bet on the success of Vulcan Forged, they're going to be betting on PYR. PYR is mostly used in the games as of right now, so you need to use PYR to purchase the land, to purchase the different NFTs that are related to the games, purchase different packs and different like perks and whatnot, and it's basically used for all of their games, and it's used to acquire those kind of bigger purchases. So like land may cost you a couple $100, a couple $1,000. They have gods, they have Vulcanites, all those things. That's going to cost you PYR to buy, and then we'll talk a little bit more about this, but once you buy the land or you buy the god, you can then level it up. That costs PYR. It also costs lava. We'll talk about that in a second. But it costs a lot of PYR to level things up, and then staking is actually done with PYR as well. And we'll talk about how to do that through land, because you basically stake your PYR in the land, and then it starts generating yield for you. Now, lava is the currency which is used for the Elysium blockchain as the gas token. It's also required for other things within the ecosystem. For example, when you're upgrading, things cost both PYR and lava. So lava is used for all of those things. So on the Elysium chain, you have a bridge, you have a DEX to swap, and then anything else that happens within the Vulcan Forged ecosystem, it's going to cost you some lava in order to be able to execute those things. Now, in-game rewards, as you, for example, Vulcanverse, and we'll go over this more in a second, but as you play the game and get more experience, that will also generate lava for you. So this does have a play to earn mechanic in it. The cool part is that there is a ton of demand for lava just because Elysium runs on lava. So it's actually a really cool system. Okay, so we kind of talked about that, but I know what y'all are thinking. Staking, bro. We're here for staking, bro. Tell us about staking. Okay, let's do it. So within the Vulcanverse game, which is their MMORPG, almost every parcel of land is actually an NFT, which can be purchased for PYR, and then there is additional PYR that can be soft staked to earn more PYR. Rewards are paid out when you're staking in both PYR and lava out of a rewards pool. This rewards pool was initially funded with, like you can see on the screen, 10 million PYR, and as of right now, it actually grows in 4 ways, which is really cool. So every time that there's a fee on the Vulcan marketplace, part of that transaction fee will go into the reward pool. 10% of every fee from direct asset sales will go into the reward pool. 50% of upgrade fees for land, titans, and Olympians will go into the reward pool, and 10% of every prize pool and tournament fee setup in the Frenzy game goes to the reward pool. Now, the thing to note is they initially funded it with 10 million PYR. At a certain point, that initial funding of PYR will run out, and what they have said at this stage of the game, this could obviously change, but at this stage of the game, what they have said was that when that initial amount of PYR is distributed to stakers, what happens is if there's enough PYR to continue, meaning there's enough adoption of the ecosystem and enough fees are being generated from these different value accrual mechanics, if there's enough PYR, it will continue to generate yield in PYR. If there's not enough PYR, then it'll move over to lava rewards. So we need to be really careful about that and think about this as far as the timing of when you watch this, because you're going to want to go check. Now, as of the filming of this in October of 2023, there's still, plenty of time to be able to get the PYR. I think we have about a year and a half left for sure of PYR rewards. But at the time of you watching this, you're going to want to go and just double check in their documentation and just go ask around in the Discord what is the status of that rewards pool, and you can actually go and find the smart contracts for that, so you can check in real time on your own asynchronously how much the rewards are and what they've been how much they've been accruing by these different ways. So thinking about whether or not you want to stake, because you're going to need to purchase land and then you're going to need a soft stake, it really makes sense. As of right now, it would only make sense if you would continue to be able to earn PYR in addition to your lava. If it moves over to straight lava, that might become a bit of an issue. Clearly, at the time that you're watching this, lava may have mooned, and there may be so much demand on the Elysium blockchain that lava becomes deflationary, at which point that would still be a good reward for your staking. All that to keep in mind. And look, I told you we were going to go in depth. That's what we're going to do. I want to make sure you have all the information. But let's keep going. Like I mentioned, after the reward pool is depleted, if there's enough PYR generated, the PYR rewards will continue. If not, the rewards will be paid in lava only. It's completely speculative at this point in time. Like I said, there is an on-chain account. What I mean by speculative is we don't know if there will be enough adoption of the Vulcan Forged ecosystem, enough traction for it to continue to pay us in PYR. We don't know if that's the case or if it will move over to lava. But let's actually talk about how you can execute on this and how you can do it. First steps, we need to purchase the land. And this requires bridging PYR over to Elysium. So we'll need to actually grab that PYR and bridge that. But, and do not just ape into this here because it will be a pain in the ass for you, but research is key here to determine how much we're actually going to need to send over to the Elysium blockchain first. So first, what we want to do, we want to minimize gas, but also we want to minimize the number of transaction fees we have to pay, and we want to minimize the number of transactions we need to do. So first, we need to go over to the Vulcan market and analyze some land prices. So let's go do that. So basically, when you go to the marketplace, and just go to vulcanforged.com and then click on marketplace and make sure you're using the Vulcan market. So you'll see here on the left-hand side of the screen that there are a couple different things all within the marketplace. So go to the marketplace. You'll want to click here to be able to filter by only the Vulcanverse land, which is what we're talking about. So you'll click this little checkbox here. You'll click apply, and it'll pull up all the land. Now, here's what you need to know about the land. There are different levels of land. As of the filming of this, we can only get to level 4. Eventually, we'll be able to get higher. But what happens is, in order to get your land to the next level, you have to essentially sow PYR. And so this is where part of the PYR usage and demand comes from, and also where part of the reward pool gets funded from. So let's say you have a level 2 piece of land. You're going to, in order to get to level 3, you're going to have to sow. In other words, you're going to have to pay 100 PYR. So you lose this PYR. That's a real hard cost to you, okay, in order to get from level 2 to level 3. Now, your rewards on staking are going to go up dramatically when you then come in and stake additional PYR. So the rewards are going to go up dramatically. You'll get about a 3x boost as of right now in the amount of PYR you get every day. But just know, this is a hard cost on the sowing cost. Now, on the staking cost, and I say this is a cost, but this is just the amount you're going to have to stake. Let's say you're going from level 2 to level 3. You will already have had 50 PYR staked. This lava gets burned, so this is also increasing demand for lava. You will need to have soft staked your 50 PYR here. What you'll then need to do is burn another 100 lava and soft stake an additional 100 PYR. So once you're at level 3, you've staked 150 PYR. Okay, it's not you add another 50 to get to level 3. It's you add an additional 100. It's a little bit confusing in their documentation, but I found this out the hard way. And so when you're thinking about what land you want, these are the calculations that you're going to want to figure out. So you'll go and you'll filter again by sow level. You'll just click that and it'll say level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, eventually level 5, level 6, level 7. And what you'll want to do is you'll want to start at level 2 and you'll want to see what's the cheapest land that I can get. Now, if you care more about the location of the land, there are 4 quadrants. There's the Hades, the woodland version, the desert, and the Arctic. If you care about that, I don't particularly care about that too much, but you may care about that more. You'll basically want to see like, okay, what I did was I figured out what's the cheapest land as far as the amount that's already been sowed, right? Because this is a hard cost. So if there's a level 2 land, and let's say the level 2 land costs you 100 PYR and a level 1 land costs you 50 PYR to purchase on the marketplace. If you think about it, those cost the same. because if you buy the level 1 for 50 PYR on the marketplace, then to sow it to get it to the next level, to level 2, you have to burn an additional 50 PYR. So your end cost is still 100 PYR. You see what I'm saying? So you're going to want to sit there and do some basic calculations to figure out, okay, at level 2, I can essentially say, okay, somebody else has already paid this 50 to get it to level 2. I don't have to pay that again. In order to get it to level 3, I'm going to need to burn another 100 PYR. In order to get it to level 4, I'll need to burn another 200 PYR. So if you're buying a level 3 plot of land, and that level 3 plot of land is 250 PYR, but there's a level 4 on sale for 375 PYR, you know that the level 4 is a little cheaper. Well, how did I get to those numbers? So if level 3 cost you 250, so that means somebody has already sowed 150. In order to get it to level 4, you'll need to sow another 200. So to get it to max level, your true cost will be 450 PYR. Now, so that land will truly cost you in the long run 450 PYR to get it to current max level. If you just buy the level 4 at 375 PYR, people have already paid these sowing costs, and so that's actually cheaper for you. So what I've noticed is oftentimes if you want to look for the cheapest high level land, and you want to purchase it that way. Now, I recognize everybody has their own budget. Not everybody wants to jump immediately to level 4, so on and so forth. So it's fine to start off at a lower amount, but just be aware of what you're signing up for and how those mechanics work, right? And so then once you've sowed the land, then you need to come in and you'll need a stake. So you'll need to make sure that you're planning for the cost of the land on the marketplace, the sowing cost to get it to the level that you want to get it to, as well as the amount that you'll need to stake in order to begin generating rewards. So it's slightly complicated, but it's just basic math. I would set up a spreadsheet, and the calculations I would do is I would say the cost of the land plus the sowing cost plus the staking cost to get it to max level, or the level that you can afford right now, and I would figure out what your cost is on a on that basis. So you basically want to figure out what's your cheapest amount of what's the cheapest that you can get the land, or let me rephrase that. What's the best way that you can get the land by paying the lowest amount for the highest level, right? So set up your spreadsheet. You'll want to plot out like the cheapest level 4 land, the cheapest level 3 land, the cheapest level 2 land, the cheapest level 1 land, and you'll want to see, okay, what are those going to cost me? And then you're going to want to figure out, okay, if the cheapest level 1 land cost me 50 PYR and the cheapest level 2 land cost me 75 PYR, well, the level 2 land's cheaper, because to get my level 1 land to level 2, I have to burn an additional 50 PYR. And then do the same for all of these different things. Figure out what the best deal is, and then I would invest in that one. Of course, you're going to be constrained by your budget, so you'll have to figure that one out for yourself. Then you'll go in and you'll stake. So that's kind of the game theory there, right? And it's very important to figure that out beforehand, because you want to know how much PYR you're going to need. And once you figure that out, you'll then need to be able to prepare your funds to transfer over to the Elysium blockchain. And so I'm assuming that either you know how you're going to gather your PYR, either you're going to purchase the PYR on Ethereum or Polygon. Those are kind of your two options. You can use centralized exchanges, you can use decentralized exchanges, and I'll have a couple of suggestions for you there. But what you'll also do is you'll need to just figure out how much you need up front, prepare your funds, purchase your PYR, and then you'll prepare for bridging. Now you will need lava to use the Elysium blockchain. Fortunately, there's a faucet, and so you can get a little bit of lava if you need to once you bridge over to Elysium to be able to do what you need to do. Also, the community is very nice, and lava right now is like a couple of pennies. So if if anybody needs lava, you need like one lava to make a trade or something, just go to the community and tell them what you need and be like, hey, I'm new. I literally just need one lava in order to be able to trade a little bit of my PYR into lava so I can continue making trades and do all these transactions, and somebody will help you out. But there's a faucet, so go there and do that. Make sure also once you get your initial one lava, what you'll want to do is you'll want to then trade some of your PYR into lava. I just moved over one PYR to lava, and then that was all that I needed for transactions moving forward, because you'll be earning lava as you're staking. Let's talk about bridging options. So if you're going to go from, first you need to acquire it. So you need to either use a centralized exchange, decentralized exchange. If you've got money on chain already, use a DEX, trade for PYR on Ethermatic. I would use Uniswap. I think they have the most liquidity on chain as far as where to get PYR. You can also always check CoinMarketCap and look at their markets section to see where else may have liquidity for you. If you don't have money on chain already, you probably should do more research before buying this altcoin. This is going to be a riskier play. That's a low market cap crypto gaming token. And so if you're just kind of aping into it because you saw an influencer talk about this, then you probably should do more research. That being said, if you want to on-ramp using a centralized exchange or a CEX, I would suggest using one of these two CEXs, and then you'll want to send it to your Web3 wallet, and then you'll be ready to bridge. You can, of course, again, go to CoinMarketCap, and you can look at the market section, and it'll tell you where the liquidity is at whatever time you're looking at this. Next, we'll go to the bridge. So once you go to, once you're ready to go bridge PYR, you're going to go to bridge.elysiumchain.tech. You can verify this by going to their CoinMarketCap or going to vulcanforged.com and clicking on Elysium, whatever makes you comfortable. You'll then go and you'll connect your wallet, and then you'll go from your home network and you just click home network, and it'll pull up Polygon, Ethereum, those things. So wherever you bought your PYR, you'll go there, and then, or wherever you have your PYR currently, you may buy it on a centralized exchange and send it over to your Web3 wallet. That's totally fine, however you want to do this thing. And then from there, you'll select that, and then you'll choose your token. And you'll bridge, and I selected PYR, and I moved it over from, I actually wanted to test both, so I tested both Ethereum and Polygon to bridge over. Not optimal from a gas perspective, but just from like I wanted to test everything out perspective, it was fine. Both Ethereum and Polygon work just fine. So you'll obviously need to have some Ethereum and Polygon as gas tokens in your, whatever chain you're going to go over from. So keep that in your calculations. Connect the wallet, send the bridge. It takes probably 10 minutes, and then you have your funds moved over. Now, once you have moved your funds over, you're going to want to go to the Elysium faucet. Now, once you go to the bridge, I'll go back for a second. Once you go to the bridge, you'll see over here in the top right, there are these 4 dots here. You'll just want to click these dots, and it'll pull up a list of the different things you can do on the Elysium blockchain right now, and you'll just click faucet, and that'll bring you over to here. Then you put in your wallet address, you send the request, or you connect your wallet and send the request, and then you'll get some lava so that you can begin using the Elysium chain. After that, like I mentioned before, what you'll want to do is you'll want to go to the DEX, swap.elysiumchain.tech. It'll also be in the 4 dots in the top. And I would move over 1 PYR over to lava and exchange that, and then this will be all the lava you'll ever need for all of your transactions moving forward. Super, super easy. Okay, so from there, then let's talk about how to actually set up your Vulcan Forged account, because you'll want to set this up in order to then go do all the stuff. So there's a bunch of different tabs when you log on to your Vulcan Forged account, and I think it's just myforge.vulcanforged.com. But you can just go sign up. You'll need an account. Sign up with Google, blah blah blah. Once you do that, it's very easy. Then I would suggest going and familiarizing yourself with all these things. These are the important ones from my perspective. So you go to my profile, you'll get a free companion here. I would look for the one with the highest foraging or espionage traits, and then you'll decide your allegiance. I kind of like the dark vibe of Hades. I think that's cool, and that's also where one of my land plots that is. So I was like, okay, I'll be Hades. But you can choose your allegiance every month, so that's fine. So go to your profile, set up your info, companion allegiance, blah, blah, blah. Then you can go over to My Funds, and that's how you move your PYR from your Elysium wallet to your internal Vulcan Forged wallet. We'll talk about that in a second. Then you can go to your earnings, which is right here. And this is where you'll check your different earn skis, like your daily PYR from land. You'll get lava from your cedalions, which we'll talk about. You can swap your hot and cold lava, which we'll also talk about, and you can also see your experience, which we'll also talk about. Cedalions, you'll want to check their progress here. So that's where you go for that. Staking, this is where you go to perform your sow and stake options. And then your vault. You'll need to go to the Vulcan vault, and you'll scroll down. It's a little hidden away, which is a little silly, but that's just what it is. And you'll need to get a license to have cedalions. You will want cedalions. They generate basically free income for you. And so you need to get a license in order to rent out one of your NFTs. So if you just have one land, it'll cost you 1 PYR. If you have more than one land, it'll like up to 5 or 10 or something, you'll need 3 PYR. And then unlimited NFTs that you can rent out, it costs like 20 PYR or something. So not very expensive at all. I would just get one license for one land up front, and then grow that as you will. But this is just a little intro to these little bars here, or these little side panels here. Next, we need to get your funds from your main wallet, and by main wallet, I mean your MetaMask or whatever you're using as your Web3 wallet, into your PYR spendable wallet. So you need to be able to spend your PYR in the Vulcan Forged ecosystem within your MyForge. So you need to be able to move. In order to do that, you need to move from your PYR main wallet, which is your MetaMask. I'm assuming most of you are using that. And you need to transfer that into your market wallet, which is what you need to be able to purchase things on the market, to do staking, to do sowing, to do all the things that you need to do internally. And then you'll need to also swap over some lava from hot lava to cold lava. The cold lava is what you use in the game to do all the things, and the hot lava is the lava that exists on the blockchain, which is what you use to pay for transaction fees. A word of caution: do not move all of your lava from hot lava to cold lava. Don't do that. Keep some of your lava in hot lava, like I would say at least like 10 or 15 hot lava, just so you can do your transactions. Also, to note, once you move over from, well, we'll talk about that a little bit later for experience, but let's keep going. So now that we have our PYR in our accounts, in our market accounts. So you see in the screenshot I took, current balance says 33.36. That's this. So your market wallet. So you cannot use your main wallet balance to purchase this land. So you've got to move it over. Once you do, you'll go over to the marketplace. You'll click on the land you want after you've done thorough research, because you're an intelligent investor. You'll go and you'll look through. You'll click properties and NFT details to see the SO level, to make sure you're getting the cheapest land at the best price. And when you're ready, you can either buy or you can bid. If you find a great deal, this is the blockchain. People can snap it up. And this project is probably going to get more well-known over time, and people are going to kind of figure out what's going on with the land, especially after they see this video. So if you got a good deal, and I would go for it. But if you want to be a little more strategic, for some of them you can place bids. So you go here, click buy now, or you bid, and then it'll lock and load in about 5 minutes. It'll make that transfer, and then that land will show up for you. Then you're going to want to go over, and you're going to want to head over to the staking tab, like I showed you in one of the previous slides. And it'll pull up with the dashboard. You'll go over to lands, you'll click that, and it'll pull you up here. And then you'll just come over all the way to the right-hand side, and these 3 little dots, you'll click the 3 dots, and you'll click stake PYR. If you need to sow beforehand, you can sow it. If you have either reached max level or you don't want to sow or whatever, then you'll be staking. So you can either sow or stake within these lands. Again, this is why we need to make sure we have enough PYR up front, and why we want to buy the appropriate amount, so do the research so we can bridge it all over, move it into our market wallet, and do all these things we need to do. Once we do that, we're going to head over to the cedalions tab. We're going to come over to assets here. It'll pull you up to rent, but you just click over to assets. And so you'll go over here, you'll click these three dots, it'll fill out a super quick thing like talking about how much you want to basically give to your cedalions as far as time wise of how long they can rent this from you, and what the cost is going to be, and what the rev share is going to be on the lava, because when they play, they generate lava. Quick heads up, they've made it to where you can only do 50-50 by default on the platform, but what a lot of people do is they offer more than that, and they just kind of pay every 15 days or 30 days or whatever directly to their cedalions as an extra incentive to get them in. But once you do this, then what you'll need to do once you've set this up to where people can come in and become a cedalion, and cedalions generate income for you, they also generate experience for you. You need experience every day in order to qualify for your staking rewards. That is why cedalions are so crucial. Like I said, they give you the daily XP required to get your PYR staking, and they'll generate you additional lava. They're also generating it for themselves. So in order to get this game theory, you'll need to go to the Vulcan Forged Discord. There's a channel called Guild Cedalions Factions. You'll see me in there because I'm always always expanding and looking for more cedalions. And then you'll post your basically advertisement to get some cedalions, and then you'll take it to DMs. So the best cedalions go to the landowners who can give them the best offer. So you use Vulcanites in order to farm experience. The better the Vulcanite, the faster that they can farm, and meaning the faster that they can generate income. So the better Vulcanite you have, the easier it is for you to get a cedalion. And the more money that they'll make, the more money you'll make. Vulcanites are typically 50 PYR and above as far as cost goes. So just keep that in mind when you're making your purchases. That's kind of like an additional side quest for you to consider. Then there is some percentage of lava share. I do 100% lava share because right now lava's not that much, and I would rather have people that are excited to work with me and that get me my daily XP requirements. And then some people give PYR in addition to lava. I don't do this, but some people do. And then there are some like required experience quotas. So I typically say, like, if you're a beginning cedalion, you'll need to generate me about 500 XP per day as your quota. And that's kind of like that. I would say that's like the base amount that it should be very easy for them to do. Now, moving forward, you can either do nothing more and let your cedalions work for you, in which case passive income, woohoo, or what you can do is you can maximize your earnings and grind out some experience yourself in order to get your user account up to the same level as your land to maximize your PYR earnings. So, yeah, clicking on things is what adventure is all about, right? Like grinding, it is a grind. Right now, in order to truly, just be super transparent with you, I go and I grind out in Vulcan Forged or Vulcanverse a little bit, the MMORPG. I typically do it in the background if I'm having a call because it's very mindless and it just takes time. Here's how to do it. It looks like this. You're basically running around the map, hitting the different landmarks. When you hit a landmark once a day, you basically get some experience points. And there are, so like it says here, like 10 XP per landmark visit. So you get like 100 XP plus 20 XP bonus every 24 hours. They also have other quests, and they have foraging. You can forage using your Vulcanite. You also get your base companion. And so you can use that for your Vulcanite to begin with. But when you are going around and you're doing your landmark run, then you do some foraging in the meantime, and you get some extra experiences for foraging. And initially, you need about 10k experience to go from level 1 to level 2. I'm assuming it's going to be more to go from level 2 to level 3, level 3 to level 4. Why is this important? Well, if you don't have, if you aren't maxed out on your experience points, and only you can generate experience points for your own user account, your cedalions will generate experience points for themselves, and that will count for your land daily needs, but it will not count for you to level up your own user profile. So The thing is, if you don't do this, you're going to be missing out on quite a bit of yield. The good news is that the yield is pretty good without it. But if you're looking to do this long term, like maybe just grind it out, and it'll take like, a couple weeks, maybe a month or two, and then you grind it out, and then you now know a lot more about the game, and you now have your fully leveled up user profile in order to be able to maximize your PYR earnings. So just a little note on that. So the rewards. We talked about all the stuff. Let's talk about the actual rewards. So it depends on how good of a deal you got into the land and when you entered PYR. Like maybe maybe you entered PYR at $100 per PYR. Well, that's very different than when I entered it at currently about like 322 or entering at 297, which was his bottom one. But anyways, let's break it down to my two most recent land acquisitions. September 23rd, 2023, 409 PYR for a SO level 4 land, an additional 150 PYR stake to get to level 3. For now, because I have experience constraints, I haven't grinded out to level 3 yet, or level 4 yet, so it doesn't make sense for me personally to stake more. I acquired my PYR at about $3.22, staked for close to a week with this most recent land, earned about and I did staked at 50 PYR for 3 days and 150 PYR for 4 days, 1.5694 total PYR earned, APR in kind about 12.81%. Obviously, this is like PYR on PYR. In addition, you have to consider if you bought PYR at 322 and it goes up to 50, then this true APR in US dollar terms is going to go way up. Acquisition 2, 250 PYR for SO level 3 land. And so if you notice, this acquisition 1 deal was actually better from a PYR perspective because it takes 200 PYR to sow the land from level 3 to level 4. So this is truly going to cost me about 450 PYR to get a level 4 sowed land. So acquisition 1 was cheaper from a PYR perspective. That being said, they didn't have any level 4 lands, otherwise I would have gotten that. So 150 PYR stake to get to level 3. Again, for now, I'm going to have to sow this and then stake more to get that. Staked for 2 days at 150 PYR, 0.5188 total PYR earned in those 2 days. So this is a 23.67% APR. Now, level 3 land all yields the same amount unless you have gods, which is a whole different thing outside of the scope of right now. So if you get to level 3, this will be your APR before you fully level up your experience. In kind, PYR, cash on cash. So this is extraordinary. You'd be hard pressed to find this very many other places. So yes, it's kind of a pain in the ass to get all the way to this point, but once you do, the rewards are very well worth it. Long term, ramp up my experience and let my PYR appreciate as well. So get more PYR and then let the PYR grow. Potentially reinvest it into more land, but probably just reinvest it into sowing and staking to just keep my yield going and keep compounding. And then from there, maybe get better Vulcanite, maybe a god. A god will give you increased amount of yield on a percentage basis, so I'd look into that too. But that's basically it. Is it worth it? If you're early on, yes, I would say so. It is, because you get over 20% dividends in kind on top of capital appreciation. Sowing is a huge loss since you just burn PYR. Comparatively to how much you can stake, it sucks, but it's a necessary evil. And then if you want to maximize your strat, you're going to have to deploy a lot of time or trust somebody else with your PYR account in order to go grind that out for you. And right now, honestly, the games are a little bit shitty, so the grind's just kind of boring. But I do think the games are going to get better. They have a great foundation to work from, and I think that's only going to improve over time. And so, if you're early on, it makes sense to do this stuff. If you're a little bit more advanced or you're pretty wealthy, then you may not want to take the time to do all this stuff. So, it may not be worth it for you. Honorable mentions, lava's probably undervalued. Ecosystem is most likely going to take off, and lava is going to become more valuable. So your lava rewards are actually going to be worth, significant amount over time. games need to get better or this project dies. Team seems solid. Only time will tell. They have survived a hack and a turbo bear after Euphoric High, and they're still around, and they're one of the most promising projects, so that bodes well. And then some big crypto gaming influencers really like this project. So at the end of the day, this has been PYR staking tutorial, complete overview. I went deep into the game theory. It may have been a little confusing, but I just wanted to get it all out there in a reasonable amount of time. So hopefully this has been helpful for you. If you have any questions, you can hit me up on Twitter. I'm just at Ben P. Gothard, so you can hit me up, tweet at me, whatever you need. And yeah, hopefully this helps you on your PYR journey, and happy staking.